I hope we get Chelsea in the FA Cup tonight. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United versus Burnley preview, and it is fast-paced at the moment with United, and it's how we like it. We park the FA Cup. Well, we don't actually, because we've got the draw at 7:20 tonight, and I do hope that we get Chelsea for the simple reason we've been to Spurs, we've been to Arsenal. Let's go to Chelsea. Let's conquer London once and for all. I want the best. I want the very best. But that's for tonight. Let's talk about Manchester United, Burnley. I think this is about a couple of things for me with Burnley. This is about winning the game, but Cardiff go to Arsenal, so they'll probably win. Goal difference +3 in Arsenal's favour at the moment, so we're probably not going to leapfrog them. But Chelsea do play Bournemouth away on Wednesday night, so put a bit of pressure on them. It's about the Premier League for the next few weeks, which is good, and we're all about that top 4 position. We've got big updates from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference for you as well. That was this morning. Like I say, there's so much going on at the moment, and the big headline from that was that Ole has basically said he's not expecting any in or outs in the next 3 days of this transfer window, which is, he'll be glad to see it closed because then he can focus on what he's got. Now, I'm going to say, look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is like a kid in a sweet shop. He's managed Mould and he's managed Cardiff. Like, if you give him this Manchester United squad, of course he's going to be happy with it. And I think some people are like, well, Ole's happy with the squad, so why are we moaning about transfers? And I think you've got to... It's always very, very important to be even-handed on this situation. On one hand, you've got Ole producing miracles and he's the best thing at the club since Sir Alex Ferguson. On the other hand, I do believe the board have wasted this transfer window. I spoke about it this morning on the Transfer Daily. They've wasted it. They've sat on their pot of gold. They've not got rid of any Deadwood FC. And we're basically in the same situation as we were under Mourinho when you look at the playing squad. And whatever you think about Mourinho, yes, he was useless and Ole's been fantastic, but there's still massive problems with that squad, and we've done nothing about it. In a 4.5 week transfer window, we've done nothing, which puts massive pressure on the summer because we can't do everything we need to do now. We've wasted a transfer window, and that's on the board because the board are incompetent, and until we get a director of football, that needs resolving. But on the playing staff point of view, from the manager's point of view, absolutely superb. But Ole's going to, look, for 2 reasons, Ole's not going to moan about no transfer window transfers. I mean, Mourinho spent 2 years moaning about it. Ole will not spend 2 minutes doing it for 2 reasons. One, he's only temporary. If he upsets the board, they won't give him a job anyway. So he's got to say, I'm happy about that. He's got to say, I'm happy with this squad. He's got to, because if he wants the job, he's got to say that. They've got him by the old short and curlies. And the second thing is, of course, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is happy with this squad. It's like being the bloody, I don't know, Leighton Orient manager and then getting the Man United squad. The difference in quality between Mulder and Manchester United is like a different planet. So of course he loves the fact that he's got Lukaku and Sanchez, even though as fans we're like a bit dubious about players like that. To him, they're gold. They're absolutely amazing. So of course Solskjaer's happy with the squad. And maybe, just maybe that point is quite a good one that's just dropped into my head. Maybe that is a weakness of Ole that he will need to adapt to, is that he's not used to working with the very best. So when he's working with this set of players, they're so much better than the players he's worked with. Is he blinded by the fact that, we can see that maybe Lukaku and Sanchez aren't going to be long-term United players, but to Ole, because these players are like head and shoulders above anything he's ever played with before, maybe he's enamoured by that. I don't know. But ultimately, he's doing a fantastic job. I don't think the board is. And I'll be consistent about that. And I think a lot of you will be as well. So it doesn't look like we're going to do any transfer window in or out. That means, most importantly, because we can speculate who we're going to sign, but most importantly, that means Darmian stays, it means Fellaini stays, it means McTominay doesn't go on loan. I mean, the big positive about it is Andreas Pereira stays. Now, I think Andreas Pereira will leave Manchester United because he can leave for free in the summer, and why would he not leave when he can go for free and go and get a massive signing on fee into his own pocket? But what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say is that I don't want him to go on loan. He's been absolutely fantastic in training, and I feel he will be a player towards the end of the season that gets a lot of games in the first team. And I think that's really, really important. So watch this space with Pereira, because Solskjaer has spoken about him quite clearly. And I think, as I said last night with Rants, the thing at the moment is that Matic, Herrera and Pogba are without doubt our starting midfield 3, and we're all over the moon with them. So whether you're a Fred fan, a Pereira fan, or a Fellaini fan, or a McTominay fan, you've got to sit down at the moment, because the reality is Matic, Herrera and Pogba are fantastic. But we've also got to be aware that this is not going to go on forever. They're not going to keep playing like they are because form will go up and down. But the most relevant thing that's not going to happen is they're not going to be fit for every game till May. For one, you can't do it. You can't keep playing them game after game after game after game. And for two, they're bound to pick up an injury. I mean, as I've said before, if Pogba picks up an injury, we're all laughing at Arsenal's injury record and Spurs' injury record. But if Pogba gets an injury, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. So I do think we'll see more. I mean, I don't know who is the backup midfielder. You know, like if Matic gets injured, Herrera gets injured or Pogba gets injured, who comes into the team? I feel at the moment it's Pereira or Fred. And it could be Pereira ahead of Fred. So to me, that's quite exciting. So I liked what he said about that. Another thing he spoke about some of the youth players that he would like to get them some game time before the end of the season because they deserve it. He mentioned, obviously, Mason Greenwood, who is just amazing. He mentioned James Garner. He also mentioned Ethan. And a lot of people thought Ethan Hamilton, who's actually on loan at the moment. I think he was talking about Ethan Laird, who is a fullback. He's 17, just turned 17 in August. I've been speaking about him probably for about 18 months now. He's very, 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 very well thought of as a fullback. And obviously United probably do need a fullback. I really like him. I've mentioned him before. I'd put him in my top 5 sort of players in the youth setup to come through. So that's exciting that he's talking about him. But what Ollie did say, and I don't know how you lot will interpret this, is that he said that the problem is they're knocking on the door, but they've got to leapfrog players like Sanchez, Lukaku and Mata who aren't getting enough game time themselves. So he's basically saying that, you know, people like Mata and Lukaku and Sanchez, they're standing in the way of Mason Greenwood getting a chance in the first team. And he's right. He's honest about that because he's like, you know, Lukaku and Sanchez and Mata, they're good players and they're not getting game time. So you know Greenwood's got to leapfrog them just to get on the bench really, and that's not really likely to happen. So the cold light of day is that I think Ollie obviously is fully aware of the youth setup at United and what we're meant to be all about, but he's being honest and saying, look, they're doing great things, but I've got Lukaku, Sanchez and Mata not getting game time. So I can't really bring a kid in and well, he can do and he would do, but I think he's just saying that, you know, it's not that I don't want to play them, it's just that I've got players who aren't getting game time ahead of them, which again, you could be, I like to look at things from both sides and, you know, the positive, there's a lot of positive in that, and the negative I could say, this is why I believe that maybe Juan Mata should be moved on from the club this summer because he is in the way of the youth players coming through. He isn't the player he was 2 years ago. He has lost a yard of pace. He is a little bit inconsistent in a United shirt at the moment when he used to be very consistent. I love Mata, but maybe it is time that we go, off you go back to Spain. We create a space for some of this youth to start coming through. You know, harsh, aggressive, ruthless, however you want to call it. I do. And I think Ollie maybe is hinting at that himself. That I think no United fan would deny or disagree with what I'm about to say here. And I think Ollie is hinting at it as well. That United first team squad is inflated. It's got too many players in it. And that is why we're probably not buying anybody. And that is why we're not getting some youth players game time. Because we've got so many, I would say, away from our first team. We've got a whole other team, Deadwood FC really, where most of them really shouldn't be at the club. They're never going to be first team quality, but they're holding off, they're stopping players coming through from the youth and they're stopping the signing players. And that, to me, is why this January transfer window has been wasted. Because I think, like we did, was it last year or the year before, where we got rid of Schneiderlin and Memphis? That was a good transfer window in that January because we offloaded a couple of players. And I think this transfer window, if we weren't going to buy anybody, all right, I disagree with that, but realistically, we should have moved a couple of players out because it makes our job easier in the summer then, because everyone's buying in the summer. But that's by the by. A lot of people just saying, what are your thoughts on Roy Keane? Look, Roy Keane, in my lifetime, is my favourite Manchester United player that I saw play, that played through my lifetime. Obviously, the bigger greats of United are Duncan Edwards, Bobby Charlton, George Best, Dennis Law, and all those. But Roy Keane's my favourite United player of my lifetime because your favourite player is always the one when you were a kid anyway, and Roy Keane was the one in those years. So I absolutely love Roy Keane as a United legend. He's taken over Nottingham Forest with Martin O'Neill as an assistant manager. So I put a tweet out today saying that's me. I obviously have always been a Forest fan, according to the bloody twats out there. So I'm off to support Forest now. It's my last appearance on the United Stand, and I will be starting up a new channel tomorrow called The Forest Stand, where I can finally go and support my hometown. What a crock of shit. I'm joking, of course, but I am excited by that. Because I like Roy Keane. I like it when, if Paul Scholes goes to Oldham as manager, I'll keep an eye on the Oldham results as well. I keep an eye on the Salford City results because of the class of 92. And if Roy Keane's at Forest, well, I grew up in Nottingham. Some of my family still do support Forest, but I'm really interested to see what Roy Keane could do there. But no, I will not be leaving the United stand because I'm a Manchester United fan. But I am excited to see Roy Keane back in it at Forest because I think he's a very interesting character away from that as well, isn't he? But that's my thoughts on that. What else did he say? He spoke about Romelu. Smalling has been back training for a week, so Smalling could be involved tomorrow. I mean, let's talk about the game tomorrow because it is our Burnley preview as well as a Solskjaer sort of update on what he said, and there's a couple of other things I want to talk about as well. But going into the game tomorrow, obviously we played Burnley. We're level on points with Arsenal. They've got a better goal difference than us. Chelsea 3 points ahead of us. They play Bournemouth away, so we're going to beat Burnley tomorrow. I don't think anybody in the live comments is going to disagree with that. We are going to beat Burnley tomorrow. I think Arsenal will beat Cardiff as well, so I don't think anything's going to change between. We'll probably still be in 6th after the Burnley game tomorrow. I think Arsenal might get 3 or 4 against Cardiff, so we want to at least match that ourselves. But ultimately, it's about the points. It's about winning tomorrow. I think we fell into that trap in the last game, didn't we? Where we thought, we're going to absolutely smash Brighton, and we only beat them 2-1. But we got the 3 points, and that's what it's all about tomorrow. Now, interestingly, with Burnley, their last 5 games, I think Burnley, from what I've seen of them this season, are the worst team in the Premier League. As the line out of in-betweeners goes, I like football, but Burnley can fuck off. Seriously, they're boring. I don't like them. I'd like to see them get relegated. They're just a grafting team. We will win tomorrow, but their form recently has been quite good, and Sean Dyche is a good manager. I think they lost to Everton on Boxing Day. They've then won 3 against teams such as Fulham and Huddersfield and Brighton. And then I think they drew their last league game to Watford 0-0. So in their last 5 games, lost 1, won 3, drawn 1. So they're unbeaten in their last 4. So their recent form isn't that bad, but realistically, we should be beating them tomorrow. We will beat them tomorrow. Now, my predicted lineup is pretty straightforward, and it's getting a lot easier. It's probably never been this easy since Sir Alex Ferguson left, because you can more or less know what your best team is. It's De Gea. I think Young plays at right back, Luke Shaw at left back, obviously Lindelof. Now, I would play Bailly. I want to see Lindelof and Bailly developing. That's the centre-back pairing I would go with. I don't know about you lot, but it could be Smalling. I don't care if it's Smalling. I'd prefer it to be Bailly. Bailly's my number 1 choice. If it's not Bailly, it has to be Smalling. It should never be Jones. It's got to be Bailly or Smalling because they are physical, tall players who give us a threat in the box, but also make us harder to score against from crosses on the box as well. So it could be Smalling. Smalling's back fit, but I hope it's Bailly because I think Bailly needs the games. I'll be surprised if Ollie brought Phil Jones in. I really would. He shouldn't be in the team, but it's got to be Bailly for me. Midfield, as I said, Matic, Herrera, Pogba, very easy. And then the front 3, you've got to bring Rashford and Martial in. They were left out for the FA Cup to give Sanchez and Lukaku game time. And I would presume Lingard. What he might do is he might bring Mata in because Mata's not played for a while, and it is a home game against a team that's going to sit back. So it would suit Mata to play Mata, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mata playing because it suits Mata. Burnley will sit back. We're at home. We'll have a lot of the ball. It's going to be a slower game, so it suits Mata. But personally, I think you've got to play Lingard. He was brilliant at the weekend. Robert Moore says, I think Pochettino is spurning his chance at a top job after his comments last night hinting that trophies aren't important. You know what, on Pochettino, we spoke about it last night. I hope everyone enjoyed the show with me and Rants last night. I just let him talk. But there's an anti-feeling towards Pochettino at the moment, whereas a month ago, I think more people wanted Pochettino than Ollie, and it's changed around. What I would say is Pochettino's been in this league for a long time. He's not a bad manager because of a couple of comments and a couple of bad results. He's still a very good candidate for Manchester United. And just because we all want Ollie at the moment, which I think is right, we shouldn't discard Pochettino, because what happens if in a month's time we get smashed by PSG home and away, Liverpool, Man City, we lose a game to a team that we should win? It changes. Football can change very, very quickly. So, yeah. Sharath Kamath Fitness says, I can't wait for Mbappe versus Luke Shaw. That's going to be a real test for us. I'll give you my score prediction for tomorrow. I'm going to go with Manchester United to win 3-0. I think a nice, steady 3-0 will do for Manchester United tomorrow. And I hope that we do it because I think the game at the weekend, are we Leicester or Fulham away at the weekend on Sunday? I think we're Leicester. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. I mean, they're looking at Yuri Tillemans coming in on loan from Monaco, and they've got some good players, Chilwell and Diddy. Obviously, Maguire's a decent centre-back. The keeper's quite good. They're a steady team, Leicester. I think that's going to be a lot tougher than people think, and I'm looking forward to that one. Backdrop says FA Cup. You're right, it does. That's purposely put there to remind me that this is a Premier League game, but we are playing in the FA Cup. We have got the FA Cup draw tonight. So what do you want in the FA Cup draw? Get your comments in. Let me know. And please do drop a like on the video as well. Let's see if we can get up to 500 likes while we're live. Poch is not at fault. That is his club, his business, not a club, says 2 Mellow. I sort of agree with that. I do agree with that. Yeah, we have got Leicester away. Thanks for that, Luca. It's Lot says 4-0. If Bay or Lindelof gets injured, we could put Darmian at centre-back as a temporary replacement, says Iban Udan. Look, you know what? In relation to signing players, I'm not happy that we haven't done it, but I think Ollie can get the best out of these players. My concern is, and I'll say this to you now, because I don't keep anything back. My concern is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing so well with this squad, the board might say you can have the job, but we're not giving you any money. And that could be the downside of the amazing positivity that Ollie's brought to the club, is they can say, well, look what you've done with this squad. Just carry on with it and win the league next year, which is impossible with that squad. I almost feel, and I hinted at it last night, I almost feel that we need, under Ollie, a couple of bad results that are not about Ollie, that are about we're just not good enough. And I know that probably doesn't make sense to a lot of you, but look, all I want from this season is top 4. And if we get that, a month ago we were like, we're in the Emmerdale Cup, we were even singing the bloody theme tune. Do-do-do-do. And now we're thinking Champions League won't be the last time we hear it against PSG. We could well be hearing it next season. So all I want from this season is top 4. But I also want in the summer the major investment that this club and squad needs, and the kicking out of some of the players that this squad needs. Now, my concern is if Ollie just keeps doing a great job with this team, we won't win the league next year without some major investment. But the club board, as stupid as they are, will go, oh, look at what he's done. Look at what he's done. Give him a full season and we'll run away with the league. And there'll be an expectation that Ollie performs with an inferior squad without much investment. So actually, I don't think it would do us a major amount of harm if we had a couple of games between now and the end of the season where we got outclassed by somebody and we see that we're far away. Preferably in the Champions League, if I'm honest. I don't want it to happen in the league because we need the points. Gio says, I'm sure the club will keep Ollie and give him cash to buy a couple of good signings. Sanchez is a good super stub, says Pavel. You know what? I think Lukaku got man of the match on Friday night out of sentiment because of 2 assists. His overall game was a bit hit and miss, but he did get 2 very good assists. Sanchez, his finish was very good, but I thought his overall game was pretty... I'm not going to say poor, because that's not fair. I thought it was average. I'm still very worried about Sanchez. Lukaku, what have I said about Lukaku? I've always said it about Lukaku. If Lukaku's happy to sit on our bench, what a fantastic substitute you've got there. Or a striker you can bring in to just give Rashford a rest every now and again. But Rashford's got to be our first choice striker. And if Lukaku's happy to be on the bench, happy days. Long term, I don't think he will be. And I don't blame him for that. I think he'd be like, I should be playing week in, week out. And that's fine. So that's Lukaku. Sanchez, well, you're the best paid player in the Premier League. What's your future? You know, you can't even have the Lukaku role. You can't even have we're happy to have you on the bench. The amount of money we're paying you, you've got to be a first teamer. So Sanchez is more of a problem. He can't be a super sub. Going back to that comment there, I'm glad you made it. Sanchez cannot be a super sub for Manchester United. He's the best paid player in the Premier League. You can't have the best paid player in the Premier League as a super sub. It's just ridiculous. It's laughable. We'll get mocked. We'll get mugged off. You can't have that. He has got to be the Eden Hazard that Chelsea have got. He's got to be the De Bruyne. He's got to be the Salah. He's got to be the best player in the team. Now, can you see Sanchez doing that? Where do you play Sanchez to get him to do that? If you play him on the left, he destroys Pogba's game and his own because they go into the same area. If you put him up front, well, Rashford's better, I'm sorry. And Martial's better than him on the left, by the way. Which leaves the right-hand side, which every single United fan you talk to says, Sanchez has got to play on the right, but never plays on the right. And that, unless he's going to turn into the right-sided attacking position solution, I don't see where Sanchez gets in this team. It's not even about him refinding his form. It's about you need to get it into your head. You cannot play on the left-hand side. He thinks he's the left-sided midfield, left-sided attacking solution, and he can't be. You're not. You and Pogba don't work together. You need to be on the right-hand side, or you need to go, because you're not sitting on the bench as the best paid player in the Premier League. And that's what I would say. United cannot afford to pay somebody to be on more money than Salah, De Bruyne, Pogba and the best players in the league to sit on our bench. And so Sanchez is more of a long-term solution, a long-term problem. And I think over the next few months, we've got till May to find it out. But I don't know. Cammy says, do you think Fred should start tomorrow? And Niet says, Lingard's better than Sanchez. Sell him. Well, you're right. Lingard is better than Sanchez at the moment. 100%. 100%. We don't want Millwall away. Bloody hell. God, I fear that. He's never played on the right for United, says Kerry Sheehan. He's had little bits on the right. He used to play on the right for Barcelona. He didn't really used to play on the right for Arsenal either. I think he doesn't want to play on the right. But, yeah. Santiago Candreva, yes, I'm glad you said that. Good luck on your trial. Sent me a lovely email about Croatian players. I did read it, and I will reply to you. But well, you've sort of had your reply there live on the show. So thanks for the email, and best of luck. Hopefully, you will be that player that you think you're going to be. I believe in you anyway. Fred the Mascot, says Craig Warburton. Remember tonight at 8 o'clock we're doing the call-in. We didn't do it last week because of technical problems or something. I can't remember. So I'm really looking forward to it tonight because there's a lot of things that a lot of you can call in and do. It will be via Discord and I'll explain how it works in the first few minutes of the show tonight. So we're really looking forward to that as a follow-on from what happened last night as well. Some of the things that Rant said. Jervy says he'd like to get Man City in the Cup. I'm happy with whoever we get. To be honest with you, do you want Doncaster Rovers at home or do you want Chelsea away? You know what I'm like. I would take Chelsea away. I'd say 80% of you would say they'd want Doncaster Rovers at home because it's an easier game. But look at the FA Cup. Chelsea, United or City are going to win it. That's the fact, isn't it? I'll put money on that. Chelsea, City or Manchester United will be the FA Cup winners this year. We're going to have to play one of them at some point. I would rather play Chelsea now in an earlier round than have to play Chelsea in the middle of April when we're coming towards the race for top four. We might still be in the Champions League and the squad is tired. I want to play Chelsea right now, kick them out the team, kick them out the cup, and I'd rather have an easier semi-final. So I want to play Chelsea. I want to play Chelsea away. That's what I want. I'll be happy with Doncaster Rovers at home. Don't get me wrong, but I would be happy with Chelsea or City. That's what I want. I want all the challengers. Come on down. If it wasn't City and Chelsea, who do I want? Doncaster Rovers at home would be nice. Akash wants City in the next round. City final with United, says Lazy Parker. Yeah. You know what? Nobody keeps talking about this. Man City could win the treble this year. They could win the league. They're very much in the league race. Champions League is wide open and they're still in the FA Cup. So just saying it now, they could win the treble this year, City. And don't anybody say, oh no, they're not going to do it. They could win the treble this year. Everyone talks about Liverpool winning Liverpool can't win the treble because they're not in the FA Cup, but going invincible and all that lot. But they could do. Man City versus Chelsea, Mark, says Callum White. That would be good. That would be a good game. That would be good for us. Yeah, if we got Doncaster Rovers at home, I hope Man City get Chelsea. But I suspect all three of us will get easier games. Paul Gardner says Doncaster so we can play some youth. I mean, that's the positive, and I've heard a few people saying that, like Paul as well. That would be good as well. I want Liverpool in the next round of the Cup, says Alex Ferguson. Yeah, I'm sure Liverpool would like that, but they're out. And they could win the treble because they could win the quadruple, says Phil Mitchell, because they're in the Carabao Cup as well. I'm sure the Man City game in the league is in danger of getting moved as well because of the FA Cup. I can't remember whether it will get moved or not, so that could get moved till the end of April as well. Adash says that Mata's going to leave this summer. We have a tendency of letting good older players go for free. Young needs to be replaced. He keeps letting attackers push him in the box, and that's very risky. We do need to sort out the right-back position, but at the moment, Ashley Young is probably the best option. Valencia was just terrible, wasn't he? I mean, there was talk this morning that Valencia might go, wasn't there? So we'll have to wait and see. But it doesn't look like anything's going to happen in this transfer window, does it? And I am disappointed about that. But at the end of the day, everything's going well. We beat Burnley tomorrow, and we've won 9 games in a row. Pradnia Wadki says City will bottle the Champions League, believe me. And Harshni Dwaka says, Mark, OT, someone in our group chat called Fellaini our equivalent of Fernandinho. I did counter and was told that I was parroting Goldbridge. Thoughts? I think they're parroting horseshit, to be honest, if they think that Fellaini is our Fernandinho. I mean, Fernandinho is a very, very effective sort of Kante, sort of go-getter, get-the-ball player. I mean, Fellaini is our Peter Crouch in midfield. That's what Fellaini is. And he's got himself injured in another transfer window. The worrying thing about Fellaini is he'll be back fit on February the 1st. As soon as this transfer window's closed, he'll come back to training and pronounce himself fit. If he starts getting game time, we're in trouble because he's crap. He's crap in the system that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to play. So, I wish we got in. I wish we got rid of him, but such is life. Anyway, I could rant and talk, but I'm not ranting. I could talk to you all day. We're only 8 subscribers short of 361,000. So if you've not subscribed, please do. Bottom right-hand corner. Please smash a like on video. Get your predictions in below. Lots of things to talk about there. Would you move Mata on? Interesting what Ollie said about transfers. Does it concern you like it concerns me that they might keep Ollie and not give him any money because he's doing such a good job with the squad that he's got, and they'll just say yes, do that. Interesting what he said about Lukaku and Sanchez and Mata sort of blocking people like Greenwood getting game time. Is that a good or a bad thing? You can talk about Roy Keane as Nottingham Forest manager if you want to. I'd like to get your opinions on that. Will you be monitoring Forest results now like I would monitor Oldham results if Scholes got a job there? And Andres Pereira. Andres Pereira looks like he may be getting a bit of game time between now and the end of the season. And your centre-back solution, I think, for the Burnley game. Who would you play next to Lindelof? Thanks for watching. 8 o'clock tonight's your show. Looking forward to that. I will be playing FIFA on Mark Goldbridge. That's football in about 10 minutes as well if you want to join me for that. Thanks, everyone. See you at 8 o'clock on the United Stand.